Council of Experts. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Sapon, who is the president of the World Council of Experts.
Good afternoon. My name is Sopon. I'm the board member of VFC International and the president of VFC World Council of Experts. I'm an appraiser of valuers. We have around 100 people. Actually, both of them are my bosses because they sent us and also our colleagues to Bangladesh, Myanmar, or Cambodia, or somewhere to conduct valuation, also in Thailand. So that is my business that we do valuation and also real estate information center in Thailand and also in vicinity countries as well. Thank you.
I like to say working with, not working for.
Hope to go to Manila.
All right, Terry, go ahead and introduce yourself. Oh, yeah, Mike.
Just to give you a little bit of background, I've been an appraiser and valuer for a little over 50 years. I was president of the Appraisal Institute before I came to VFC, and it was that introduction that got me involved with this organization. Previous world president, in a minute here, Enrico Campagnoli asked me if I would be the first president of the World Council of Experts. And I think it's fitting to mention that because appraisers and valuers, in my opinion, obviously, don't get the acknowledgement that they deserve. And we didn't have very many valuers in the organization back then. But we did have other real estate experts, including architects, engineers, et cetera, et cetera. And so with that, Dr. Suppan took over as the president of the World Council of Experts, and Susan Greenfield asked me if I would take over as president of the new Council of Appraisers and Valuers. And I think I also have a broker's license, etc. But I think hopefully out of some of the discussions we have here today on this panel, you all have a little better appreciation for what evaluation and appraisal function is as it relates to what you all do. The vast majority of the members of FIOPSI are brokers. I happen to also be a broker, but the bulk of my income is generated from appraisal and valuation. And we'll get into talk a little later, hopefully, about the interaction between the various specialties within FIOPSI, whether it be property management, whether it be brokerage, developers, et cetera, et cetera.
Thanks. Okay, so first question we have, I guess Dr. Sapon, if you want to start, is in regards to the global shifts in valuation, what significant changes have you experienced throughout your career?
There are a lot of changes. For example, in the case of small things like report writing, you may know that Thailand, English is not a medium officially, so now we can write report very beautifully with the AI or something. And also some other things that we also use, say in the case of some calculation. Normally in the valuation, we use, as we know, the multiple regression analysis. It may be linear or non-linear. And also we have decision tree, right? Decision tree, so that we can make good decision on the valuation of properties. And then we have neural network that we try to use it and try to teach them how to develop their skill or something. But normally in the valuation, this is mainly what we use. But in report writing, in presentation, in many things, we can use AI very efficiently in our office today. Thank you.
Terry, anything to add?
Yeah, let me talk a little bit of history here that some of you can appreciate. But when I first got into the real estate business, I was hired by a broker that was also an appraiser, and he was migrating his business from valuation to more development. So I became one of his appraisers, if you will. And when I first got into the business of valuation, it was most of the recognized appraisers at that point in time were valuers that used their brokerage business for the data and the approaches that they use to in their valuation. And as the real estate profession started to specialize into different aspects, some in property management, some in brokerage, and some in valuation and other specialties. And the way things changed because of the specialization is something that I think hopefully we'll get into a little bit of discussion about today. I think it's very fitting that the session that preceded us was about PropTech. That's where the data is. And the reason that the real estate brokers were some of the best appraisers and valuers 30, 40, 50 years ago is because they had all the data, because that's what they did. They generated the sales and they held the information. So to be a good appraiser back in those times, it was necessary to have the connections with the brokers within your community to be able to get the data that you needed to do the valuations that were required by the clients.
So on that note, Dr. Sapon, in regards to obtaining credible data, this will be a two-part question. What are some of the challenges faced and solutions that you use in your daily practice?
As the largest real estate information centers, actually we conducted the survey every day. You may know that in our countries, there may not have official data, reliable data. Once we were appointed by Mr. Duncan, father and son, to go to Bangladesh. I conducted a survey for 3 days to verify the data. So in valuation, we all know what we call zone of market prices. Zone of market prices. If a house in that particular neighborhood normally sell for 1 million, normally it would be around 1 million minus or plus. There might be some outliers that may be higher, too high or too low. That may be because of the some other unexplained or unexplored factors. However, if we see this sort of zone of market prices, we can conduct good valuation. And in our office, we conduct a survey of newly launched housing projects every month, actually every day. And then every quarters, we also conduct the progress of the sales of each project. And on annual basis, we also conduct some other surveys. We conduct nationwide in Thailand and also in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Jakarta, Manila, and Kathmandu, and Myanmar as well. So if we conduct a survey regularly, we will have reliable information. And if we find something that is some outliers, we can realize that there might be something wrong. So the more we conduct surveys, the more reliable data we will get. We will get better information than the government or the salesperson in the sales office, because they just came, they may not know the situation very well. So this is what we can see. And when we do the valuation, we can also forecast the price in the future, because we can see the development of the prices, and also the fluctuation. So this is something that we can calculate it, because we, like Mr. Duncan, also we do PAMA, computer assisted mass appraisal, or they will call AVM, automated valuation model. So this is what we use the information for our valuation. Thank you.
Yes, sometimes Dr. Sapon is Detective Sapon, because in any transaction you'll have a buyer, a seller, and a broker, and depending on the market, you're getting 3 different lives, because nobody wants to pay taxes on anything, whether they're receiving the money or purchasing something. So that's it's a lot of work that goes into confirming those sales. Next thing, this will be, I guess, Terry, you could start, about resources and technology that's used. It may like resources for as far as like organizations that are throughout the world that you've been maybe on the board of, or are good sources to finding good information or good professionals through.
Sure. Well, as we all know, all real estate is local. And this is where the profession started. It started within the local communities. And what has happened with the efficiencies in data, etc., there have been valuation and appraisal organizations established over the last 20, 30 years. In fact, one that really stands out is the International Valuation Standards Council. Most of the requirements for valuation were based on local customs, local rules, and local requirements. We now have an international standard for valuation and appraisal. We also recently started, in fact, Dr. Lim, who's a member of this organization, has been involved with the beginning of the UPOV, the WAVO organization, World Association of Valuation Organizations, and they have worked with a number of the more local national organizations to come up with education for valuers around the world. There's been a number of local country organizations throughout Central and South America that started a regional group of appraisers called the Union of Pan American Valuation Organizations. So there's been a lot of movement in credentialing, a lot of movement in education, and moving the valuation profession to be a credible organization, credible organizations for developing the skill set that appraisers require.
And we touched on it briefly, but as far as artificial intelligence goes, Dr. Sapon, I'll let you start, and then Terry, you could follow with any thoughts. What are positives and negatives about using AI in your evaluations or report writing?
Go back a little bit about the valuation. Once when during the COVID-19, we value a lot of aircraft. Normally, I'm afraid of flying. We conduct valuation of aircraft. Normally, the data we don't have, but we have to buy data of the transaction around the world. So that is also expensive. But otherwise, if we do not buy, we won't know what will happen. Okay. And considering the capitalization rate, say for example, my company one year may have a net profit around $1.5 million. But what is the capitalization rate or the discount rate in this case? It is around 15%. So my company is worth only $10 million. But the thing is, how can we know this 15%? This 15% came from the data from the real estate investment trust or property funds. So this is the thing that we can find out. Or lately, when we have our own property like hotels or office buildings or rental apartments, the income also the same. But the capitalization rate is only 5%. So if we have 1.5 million divided by 5% capitalization rate for the real estate, so in this case, it is only maybe around $30 million. But the thing is, this 5% we have to justify by the information that we have to get it from the market and reliable sources. In the case of the shortcoming in the use of AI, is that AI can give you a lot of answers. In the US, you may know that Zillow or some other organization, website, they can also value properties every day. But it may not be correct or it may be correct, it depends. But when we just use Karma or AVM, normally the error may be only less than 10%. So this means that it is also reliable. So in this case, when we have the use of AI, there may be some errors. But the use of AI or AVM also consider the economy of scales. So if we have 100 properties, if the properties may not be correct, maybe 10%, this 10% we can go out to conduct a survey. But it is not a good idea to conduct a survey of the whole 100 properties. But 10 properties is okay. So this is the economy of scales that beneficial from AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alpha. Terry, anything else to follow? We've got about 2 to 3 minutes left.
Let me make this quick, but I think it will tie things together a little bit. Appraisers and valuers are hired to come up with the conclusion of their estimate of what the value of the property is. The problem is you begin by gathering the data and then analyzing that data and coming to a value conclusion. And as I mentioned earlier, when the valuation profession was younger, and it was the biggest and most time-consuming problem was getting the data. Today, the biggest problem is analyzing the data. The appraiser is actually paid not to get the data necessarily, but to do the analysis to come to a reliable conclusion. And this is why the change in the profession is going to be dramatic with this artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is great for doing a market study, but coming to a value conclusion, it's the appraiser or valuer that is responsible for coming up with that value. That's where the differences are today, and the amount of data. It used to be a lack of data. Now it may actually be too much data to be able to come to a good conclusion without the experience necessary to do that.
All right, I think that's about all the time we have. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks again to the Nigerian chapter team and Mr. Dele and Keen for putting on this great Congress. And with that, I guess we're up to global retail, shaping the Renaissance.